Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Sports Nightly Studios in New York. I'm Darrell Burnett. With me, a man who is no stranger to Soviet hockey, Herb Brooks, who was the architect of the miracle in 1980 when the U.S. Olympic team won the gold medal. For the first time, the NHL has journeyed to the Soviet Union for a series. Today, the Stanley Cup champion Calgary Flames meet Sokol in Kiev. And Herb, anyone who saw Game 1 saw contrasting styles of hockey. How so?
Well, you know, Darrell, it's from a technician standpoint and a purist standpoint. I thought the game at Calgary the other night, Kimmich, was very interesting. There was a lot of flow to it, good tempo, a bigger rink, 100 feet wide by the normal 85 in North America, 200 feet in length. There was less dumping the puck in forechecking. There was more flow to the game in the two end zones because the nets are out a little bit. And it was more of a creative type of game. But a lot of people looking at Calgary say, geez, they're big, they might be a little cumbersome and slow of foot. But they adapted very well and played a very intelligent, creative game over there.
We'll see if they can win Game 2. Herb, of course, we'll see you later on. Now let's join Ron McLean, Don Whitman, and Harry Neal in Kiev. Enjoy the game, everybody.
Today we are live from the Palace of Sport in Kiev for Game 3 of the Friendship Tour 1989, the Calgary Flames playing against Sokol Kiev. Welcome to Kiev. I'm Ron McLean. This is the capital of the Ukraine. 2.6 million people live here, behind only Leningrad with 4 million and Moscow with 8 million residents. But in terms of tradition, it's number one. Leningrad's just over 300 years old. Moscow's newer than that. Kiev celebrated its 1500th anniversary earlier in the decade, but hockey hasn't been here all that time, so fortunately, Sokol Kiev is yet to perfect the game. It will nonetheless be a good test for the Stanley Cup champions. For their comments on the upcoming game, Don Whitman and Harry Neal.
Thanks, Ron. Hi, everybody. The Calgary Flames, Harry, in their opening game, won by a score of 4-2. Penalty killing was a key factor for the Flames in that win.
Without question, Joel Otto and his penalty-killing partners, plus Wamsley and Vernon, killed off 9 of 10 penalties Calgary took after they got ahead 2-0. And I think they ought not try that routine tonight.
The penalty-killing unit might have to do some work again tonight because we understand that Sokol Kiev is one of the more physical teams in the Soviet League.
Well, that'll be interesting to see, and a few bodies flying around that hasn't hurt any hockey game I've seen. And if a smaller Soviet team like Kiev can challenge the bigger Calgary Flames, we're in for a good hockey game.
The Calgary Flames will go with a 22-man roster, but only 20 will really see much action.
Well, 22 men are what the Russians like to dress in international games to give them 4 units of 5 with the 2 goalies. The Calgary team hate it. I talked to a lot of players, and a lot of them didn't play enough, especially when you factor in the 12 penalties they took. If you were a penalty killer, you had wet underwear at the end of the game. If you weren't, you didn't even need to shower.
We'll return to Kiev and the game between Sokol Kiev and the Calgary Flames right after this.
I'm Bob Knoll. My official title is head of auto testing for Consumer Reports magazine, but I really work for you. And there are over 200 people who work for you at Consumer Reports. We test and report on everything from toothpaste to TVs. Right now is a good time to try Consumer Reports because you can get a free trial issue with no strings attached. Here are the details.
Call now for your free trial issue of Consumer Reports, the magazine that gives you all the pros and cons of a product, including price. Call for your free trial issue now, then decide. When the bill arrives, pay it and get 11 more issues, 12 in all, including the annual buying guide issue, for just $18. Or write cancel on the bill and owe nothing. If you do subscribe, you'll also get 2 free gifts: the new Medicine Show, updated and revised, and the 1989 buying guide issue.
So put Consumer Reports to work for you. Call now.
Call now for Consumer Reports.
Call toll-free 1-800-841-0300. That's 1-800-841-0300.
Next week on Sports Channel's High School Game of the Week, one of high school football's oldest rivalries hits the gridiron. Perennial powerhouse Paducah Tillman powers up their offensive machine in search of their 3rd consecutive series victory against Mayfield High. Can the Cardinals soar to victory, or will the Blue Tornado wreck everything in its path? It's the 76th meeting between these two arch rivals on the High School Game of the Week, live at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific, exclusively on Sports Channel, next Friday.
Welcome back. Darrell Burnett and Herb Brooks back in the Sports Nightly Studios in New York. We're just before face-off right now. And Herb, before we get to the face-off, I want to ask you something. Intimidation isn't a word often associated with the Soviets, but in this series, it could very well play a key role.
Well, it could, especially, obviously, Calgary's not going to be intimidated. There's no question about that. But the Soviets could be a little intimidating, Darryl, in the sense that when they look at Calgary, a big, strong team, one of the biggest teams in the National Hockey League, I think they're also going to be intimidated. In fact, this is the defending Stanley Cup champions, and this is going to have a sort of a leverage effect there. They'll be in awe of them a little bit. And then depending where Sergei Makarov, one of the great Russians of all time, he may or may not suit up for Calgary. Those three things, just the Soviets might be a little tentative at the start, and then I think as they feel their way, then they might get into the flow of things.
Interesting to see. We're just about set for face-off here. With that, let's go to Kiev to Don Whitman and Harry Neal. Gentlemen, take it away.
Welcome back to Kiev and the traditional exchange of gifts taking place. And the Calgary Flames presenting Sokol Kiev with the white Stetsons. The white Stetson, of course, has been a trademark of Calgarians for many years, and this is usually the gift that visiting teams, when they arrive in Calgary, receive, visiting dignitaries receive. And the Flames have brought the white Stetsons with them to the Soviet Union, and they have presented them to the opposition teams as they line up at their respective blue lines prior to the start of the game. And of course, the gifts were presented to the Flames as well. Young ladies attired in traditional costume, making the presentation to members of the Calgary Flames. Flowers presented to the Flames as well, something I'm sure that caught many of them by surprise.
Well, they got the same treatment at Himmick, and I know from talking to a few of the people in Himmick, the players there were delighted to get a white Stetson with a Calgary label on the front of it, and I'm sure the boys here from Kiev will feel the same. There's the trainer, the younger Murray, collecting the roses to take to the dressing room, because they don't want any of those flowers on the bench once the puck drops.
No, it is a friendship tour, but the Calgary Flames are still intent on winning this game, and Rick Wamsley will start in goal for the Flames. Mike Vernon is not dressed. The backup tonight will be Steve Gannett, and Gannett is expected to share the goaltending assignment with Rick Wamsley. Wamsley split goaltending duties with Mike Vernon in the first game in the Soviet Union, that 4-2 victory in Leningrad 2 nights ago. Igor Liba of Czechoslovakia is the referee for tonight's game. The two linesmen are from the Soviet Union.
You've noticed, Don, that they haven't had a Russian referee yet. The Swedish referee did the first two games, the one last night in Moscow and the one Thursday in Himmick, and now we have a Czechoslovakian.
Yuri Shundrov in goal for Sokol Kiev. Terry Crisp has dressed 22 players for this game, but Al McInnes will probably be used just in a penalty-killing capacity, and the extra forward being Tim Hunter, and he isn't expected to see a great deal of action. From the face-off, the puck coming back into the neutral zone. Zanayev plays it up along the boards to Kulabukov. He couldn't do anything with it, and the Flames fire it back into the Soviet zone. Trying to move it out is Malkov. If he gets ahead to Stephenchev, he can catch up with it. Dumped in by the Soviets. Wamsley leaves it at the side of the net for Nieuwendyk. Nieuwendyk is out there with Makarov, and on the wing is Gary Roberts. This line intact from game one. As a matter of fact, this line produced a goal just 31 seconds into the game when they played Himmick in Leningrad on Thursday night. A crowd of about 6,000 watching the action here in Kiev. In the center ice area, the fans reacting, thinking there should have been a penalty called as Stephenchev was spun around. Here's a long shot right on by Malkov, the first shot on goal, and it's picked up by Sabarin. Sabarin moves it out into the neutral zone. McClellan, who did not dress the other night, plays it back to his own line to McCrimmon. Dumped into the Soviet zone, back to the net. Tim Hunter gets it out front. McClellan moving in, takes a shot, the rebound. Hunter got it to McClellan got it to Gilmore. Gilmore attempting to jam it in, and the goaltender Shundrov was down to cover up.
Well, the Calgary team's quite a bit bigger, and here's what might happen all night long, as you see the great body check thrown there to create this chance. Kiev had 6 forwards that are under 180, none that are over 200. Calgary has 6 forwards over 200 and only 2 under 180, Gilmore and Fleury.
Sabarin plays it back into the Soviet zone. Lubnin takes it behind his own goal. Up on the wing, Pryakin couldn't intercept. The puck goes loose in the neutral zone. Sabarin knocked off the puck by Sinov. Broken up, however, by Doug Gilmore, and he slides it down the ice. Lubnin being chased by Pryakin. Pryakin gets it free, tried to hit Gilmore, bounced away from him, and it comes loose in the neutral zone. McCrimmon has it for Calgary. He plays it cross ice to Sabarin, lead pass. He was looking for Gilmore. It was broken up by the Soviets. Now Pryakin gains control. Off the boards for Gilmore. Gilmore cross ice. Coming out of the players' bench to pick it up is Suter. He has to go back in his own zone with Natras. Natras on the right side for Ranheim. He had a goal the other night in that 4-2 win. Ranheim steps into the Soviet player heavily into the boards, back of the net. The Soviet player is hurt. Drop pass for Kristich, and a good save by Wamsley as Kristich deflected it, and Wamsley came sliding across to make a fine save.
Kristich is the 20-year-old who's the only player in this team that's been drafted by a National League team. And he was drafted by Washington, 120th overall. And David Coyle and Jack Button of the Washington Capitals are here to see him play. Washington, who are also in the Soviet Union, they do not play here in Kiev.
Paul Ranheim threw a big check down in the Soviet zone. The Soviet player went off to the bench holding his arm. Hrdina gets it loose, knocks it out into the neutral zone. Ranheim couldn't go anywhere with it. And a good body check there in the Soviet zone by Godinak. We suggested that this team might be more physical than Soviet teams we have seen so far, and that has been the case in the early going of this hockey game. There's an opportunity now for Yuldashev, a shot and a save by Rick Wamsley.
Well, one thing this team's doing more than Nimick ever did is shoot the puck. The Nimick team kept passing it and never getting good shots away.
No score in the first period.
I've been off of them now for, well, in September it'll be 2 years.
It wasn't as hard as I thought it would be.
Cigarette is an easy, inexpensive, and guaranteed method to quit smoking.
I've tried other things and nothing worked.
It just took all of the craving away from me all at once, and I didn't want any.
And I didn't have the weight gain.
A year later, I'm 30 pounds thinner.
You quit smoking or your money back. Guaranteed.
1995, what do you have to lose?
I thank God every day for cigarettes.
Well, why don't you send for it? Quit smoking.
Paul Baxter, the assistant coach, on the bench for the first time in a National Hockey League capacity. Jim Poplinski in across the line. Puck taken away by Alipov. Alipov moves in with Gorbushin. Gorbushin is checked. It comes back into the neutral zone. Alipov tried to hit a teammate at the blue line, intercepted by Johansson. Johansson for Calgary dumps it in. There is no delayed offside as they are playing international hockey rules. So as a result, the whistle goes with Jim Poplinski in across the Soviet line.
Well, the Calgary Flames are definitely playing much more aggressive tonight than they did at all in the first game. And I think they heard the same report we did, Don, that this is an aggressive Soviet team. And they are about half the size of the Calgary team. And if they're going to be aggressive, they're going to have tough. Roger Johansson played very well, I thought, Thursday night. And, of course, he's used to these big ice surfaces, and that ought to help him. The Flames are just now beginning to get a feel for the larger ice.
Murzin flipping it in. Shundrov stops it at the side of the net. The Soviets fire it down the ice. 3:45 is the time played so far in the period. The puck comes loose as Murzin had to take a strange bounce off those end boards, and it slid right in front of the net. And Wamsley almost got fooled in that one as the Soviet player was driving in and almost slipped it past him. Puck in the neutral zone. Kulabukov knocked off the puck as Murzin gets it ahead to Poplinski. Poplinski dumps it up on the wing, too far for Otto. And going back after it, Ovchinov. Ovchinov on the left side to Stephenshah. He's taken in against the boards by McCrimmon. Neuendijk trying to play it out of there. Couldn't. Savarin steps into his man back of the net. The Soviets gain control, a centering attempt, and the puck goes loose. Shiraz trying to center it, nobody there. Back to the point, taken by Zinoviev. Zinoviev flipped it back to the goal. Tim Hunter tried to get it out. Zinoviev managed to keep it in. And now Makarov moves it ahead into the neutral zone to Neuendijk. Neuendijk over on the wing for Tim Hunter. Hunter stops in the corner, back to Neuendijk. Neuendijk behind the net, trying to get it out front. Makarov couldn't get a shot away. McCrimmon manages to keep it in at the point. 5:08 gone by in this still scoreless opening period. Finally, the Soviets clear the zone. Stepanashev, who had lost his helmet, flipped it out. Lubnin behind his own net. The Soviets ahead to Nada. He shoots it in. McCrimmon is back for the Calgary Flames. McCrimmon looking on the right side for Makarov, intercepted by Lubnin. Ahead to Nada. He shoots it in. Wamsley stops it there for Savarin. The Soviets intercept the puck in the Calgary zone. They gain control. Nada tried to slide it into the slot to Sinkov, broken up by Calgary, and here goes Priakin in alone, he scores!
Well, Priakin poured in off the right wing and took a nice pass from Joe Neuendijk and made no mistake. You watch, the goaltender's going to open his leg, and that's where the Soviet shooter beats the Soviet goaltender between the legs. And one of the knocks on Priakin is the fact that he can't take advantage of good opportunities and put it in the net. Evidently he had 3 breakaways in Czechoslovakia and scored on none, but he made no mistake on that one.
1-0 Calgary, 5:59 the time of the goal, scoring for the Flames. Sergei Priakin. They have not yet announced an assist on the goal. Priakin moves it ahead to McClellan. McClellan into the slot area to Suter. Suter is stopped at the line. And the Calgary Flames retreat in their own zone to try and set up. Natras off the boards. Gilmore couldn't handle the pass. Kristich has his pass intercepted by Priakin. Something we saw from Himmick the other night, Harry, was a lot of drop passes. As a matter of fact, they may have established a record for drop passes. No such thing in this game by this Soviet team.
Well, it's a nice ploy, but I think it was overused completely Thursday night, and they dropped it from a good scoring position to not such a good one on about 8 occasions. There's Priakin, who really, although we don't treat him as a newcomer because he was in Calgary so long last year, he only played 2 games during the season and 1 in the playoffs. So he's a rookie in every other aspect, except he had a nice, calm, slow adjustment period, one that Makarov won't have.
There was no assist given on the goal by Priakin. They're not very liberal with assists. Herdina trying to get it out front to Fleury, and it was broken up by number 5, Gorbishin.
Well, there should have been 2 assists given, Don. Neuendijk made the nice cross-site pass and put Priakin in, and the defenseman, I'm not sure who it was, got it up to Neuendijk. But you're right, the statistics we get on the Russian players reflect the fact that these official scorers do not like to give assists. And as a result, they get a lot more points if they're playing in North America in the assist column.
Merzen grows cross ice to Johansson. Lead pass for Ranheim. He had a little difficulty controlling it. And now the Soviets gain control. Kroviakov fires it in. Going back after it is Merzen. Merzen dumping it up on the wing for Herdina. Herdina ahead to Fleury. Fleury lost control of it. Quick shot there by Sinkov. And Wamsley makes the save. Now, Zeron Fleury looking on the left side for Ranheim. The pass doesn't get through, and Herdina has to go back into his own zone. 7:20 is the time gone by in the opening period. It's 1-0, the Calgary Flames leading on the goal by Priakin. Merzen in across the line. He's dumped by Gorbushin. And the fans here in the Kiev Sports Palace enjoyed that one.
The fans like good checking anywhere, and I don't think we should be surprised when they see one of the Kiev players knock one of these big Calgary players down, that they get excited about it.
Puck deflected down into the Calgary zone. Wansley is out of the net to play it to the corner for Savarin. He had a little difficulty handling it, and Malkov tried to center it. Now it's flipped up along the dasher. They attempt to center it again, and it's knocked down the ice and back into the Soviet zone. 8:09 is the time gone by in the first period. 1-0. The Calgary Flames leading Sokol Kiev. The second of 4 games the Flames will play in the Soviet Union. They won their first by a score of 4-2. Malkov trying to center it. He's being harassed by Savarin. The puck comes loose. Stefanshev gets it back to the line. Takes a weak shot. It bounces to the corner. Stefanshev again. Cutting right out in front. The puck is loose and knocked away just at the last moment by Mark Hunter. He breaks out now with Poplinski. Poplinski to McCrimmon. McCrimmon in across the line trying to get it back to Poplinski. Broken up by Ovenshaw. In the corner, Ovchenkov taken in against the boards by Joe Nieuwendyk. The puck goes loose. Botvinko attempted to move it back to the point, but it came out across the line, and the Soviets have to go back into their own zone. Neda plays it up along the boards. Sinkov unable to get it out on his first try, and finally does play it out into the center ice area. Makarov lead pass over to Nieuwendyk now, going in, saved by Shundra. Rink-wide pass for Sinkov. Sinkov in across the line, tried to handle the puck, thinking perhaps of dropping it back, but there was nobody in position, and it was knocked away from him. Sinkov gets it again for the Soviets. Now it's Neda, bumped in against the boards. Comes loose to Nieuwendyk. He had a little trouble picking it up, and Suter circles back into his own zone. Over to Natras. Natras lead pass for Gilmore. Gilmore going back to the net, tried to throw it out the short side, gets it again. Taking that pass from Tim Hunter. Now Makarov back at the line, knocked off the puck, and it goes into the center ice area. Makarov goes to the bench as the Calgary Flames complete their line change. Tim Hunter couldn't do anything with it. It's flipped out into the center ice area. There's a penalty coming up here. Doug Gilmore will be going off as he upset the Soviet player Burkanov at the blue line. 10:21 is the time gone by in this first.
CCM 651 Tax, the only skate with vacuform, heat molded to the exact shape of your foot. The only skate with heel lace, dual lacing that locks in perfect fit to transmit your power and control directly where you need it most, right into your game. 651 Tax by CCM. Turn on the power.
We're going to see on this replay here that Joe Nieuwendyk tried to do the same thing Priakin did, beat the goaltender in the breakaway through his leg.
Dumped down the ice by the Flames. They did an exceptional job of killing off penalties in game 1, which they won by that score of 4-2. They led 3-0 against Timok in the first period. Burkanov goes back to the net, and as he touches it, it's whistled down, and the puck is brought back into the neutral zone for the face-off.
Well, if you watched the game Thursday and thought the crowd was very quiet compared to this one, you're right. Don't forget, this is the home team here in Kiev, and in Leningrad Thursday, Timok is really a Moscow team.
Johansson, cross ice to Murzin. He hammers it off the boards down into the Soviet zone. In his own zone, Godinuk having a little trouble handling it, gives it back to Gorbushin. Ahead to Burkanov. Burkanov in across the line. Play broken up. Kristich picks up the loose puck to Burkanov. He was looking out in front for Yuldashev. Pass didn't get through. Now Yuldashev has it in the corner. Back to the point to Gorbachevin. To Yuldashev. Yuldashev centering it. Here's an opportunity for Kristich. It was knocked off his stick by Murzin and flipped down the ice.
Nice passing by the Soviet power play. They got it to one of the two men in front of the net that was being covered by the one Calgary defenseman, which is an impossibility. And as a result, the fumbled pass cost the Kiev team an excellent chance to score.
Ovchynnikov coming out of his own zone for the Soviets. Stepanshev had his pass broken up by the Flames, and Natras in his own zone. Now is checked, it goes loose. Malkoff cross ice, but there was nobody in position to accept his hard pass. Gary Roberts brings it out to center ice, drops it off to Suter. He takes his time before flipping it down into the Soviet zone.
Well, the Calgary Flames are picking up where they left off Thursday with this excellent penalty killing. One opportunity and missed.
Here's Gary Roberts stealing it, going in. The save by Shundroff with just 5 seconds remaining in the penalty to Doug Gilmour. Doug Gilmour now out of the penalty box. He steps into the Soviet player just as he came in across the blue line. And he was able to spin Kulabukov around as he was looking for that pass. 12:36 has gone by in this opening period. Calgary leading 1-0. Priakin has to wait for Gilmour to get on side. And then the pass goes off a skate, and the Soviets gain control. Sinkov in his own zone. Rink-wide pass for Zinoyev. Zinoyev is stopped in the neutral zone. The Soviets like to use 5 players as a unit at all times. And they very rarely change, although on their power play unit, they did make one change back on the blue line. Sinkov fakes the shot, tried to go around McCrimmon. It was knocked away from him. Loose puck at the side of the net. Again, there have been some strange bounces off those end boards. Here's the shot, right on by Nada, and the save by Rick Wamsley.
Well, Wamsley had the angle cut. He didn't know where the puck went after it hit him. But Nada nearly scored.
A few words on business and change.
The journals are daily, and that gives you a real competitive advantage. It's very tough out there, but it's also very exciting. We want to be the best ally that you've got.
Today's Wall Street Journal. Faster, tougher, smarter.
Call 800-841-0300 for this special Journal offer. 12 weeks for just $29.75 with a money-back guarantee. 12 weeks, $29.75. Call 800-841-0300 now for the Wall Street Journal.
Rick Wamsley, 2/3 of the way through this first period, has been unbeatable, and he's had to make about 4 big stops.
From the face-off, the puck slides back into the Sokol Kiev zone. Played out, picked up there by Johansson. Johansson, having trouble, was knocked off the puck by the Soviet player Bitnikov. Sinkov centering it, nobody in position, and Joel Otto gains control. Dumping it out into the center ice area, picked up by Johansson, drop pass to Hunter, shot, that goes wide. Botvinko out of his own zone, rink wide, nobody there. On the open wing, it's picked up by Johansson. He gives it to Murzin, who takes it behind his own goal. Murzin up to the line, stop there. Puck goes loose. There's an opportunity for Alipov, and he fires it. It's deflected off a stick and over the glass, out of play. 14:22 is the time gone by in the first period.
Gretzky.
Putting it on Gretzky's stick, he shoots, he scores!
Lemieux. Vernon.
Back up the wing, it comes to Tandy. Last one, oh, and that one snapped out of the air by Vernon.
The blistering slap shots, the bone-crunching body checks, the joy of winning.
Pocket pick by Murray, the shot, Hawks win!
The National Hockey League returns to Sports Channel, October 5th.
Darren Fleury, who has not seen much action tonight, is one of the 2 Calgary forwards that are under 108. He may even be under 170.
Despite the fact that he is the youngest player in the lineup of the Flames, he has had a great deal of success. He's been on a Turner Cup winning team in the International Hockey League with Salt Lake, a World Championship junior team, and of course last year a Stanley Cup championship team.
Well, that's a nice streak to have going for a young Western Canadian boy. He's a delightful guy to talk to. He always seems to be in a good mood, but I don't think he's quite so delightful to play against. There's a large contingent of Calgary fans here, and they are trying to out-cheer, although they're outnumbered, this Kiev crowd.
Loose puck in that Calgary zone. Alipov trying to get it free, does manage to get a shot away. Gorbushin is taken in against the boards by Tim Hunter. Now Alipov is checked by Natras. They battle for the puck in the corner. Gorbushin manages to get it loose to Shireyev. He's knocked down, and Gary Suter comes up with it for Calgary. He moves it ahead to Natras. Rink-wide pass to Hunter. Hunter is out there with Ranheim and Fleury. Ranheim tried to get it loose, looking for Fleury cutting in on the left side, unsuccessfully. Long shot, blocked before it gets to the net. Centering attempt by Yuldashev, and it's gloved and held by Rick Wamsley.
Well, this Sokol Kiev team was created in 1963. They've played 5 games already this season. They're 1-3-2. One of their losses is 4-2 to Himik. And they finished 5th last year in the league. Here's probably their best player, Valery Shireyev. 12 goals, 9 assists as a defenseman. Finished 3rd in the Soviet League, and it will play for the USSR national team this year, and that's a first for any player from Kiev.
Fired wide, Gary Roberts deflects it off the boards. Makarov picked up the pass, but it was a 2-line offside call.
Makarov gave us a taste of what he can do early in the game in Leningrad, and we haven't seen that yet, although he made that nice pass and gave a breakaway. He's wearing number 42 this year for the Flames. As you know, all through his great career here in the Soviet Union, he wore 24. But that's Jim Kaplinski's number. So being the innovative guy that he is off the ice as well as on, he just turned it around, and 42 will be a number I think we'll remember in the National Hockey League this winter.
Nieuwendyk in his own zone, back to McCrimmon. He flips it down the ice. Shireyev back there for the Soviets. Long lead pass now to Kristich. Kristich at the line. The play whistled down, an offside call against the Soviets.
Well, in the first 8 minutes, Terry Krist's team showed us all kinds of good body checks by the forwards. And the pace of the game was good. It was slowed up a little bit. One of the reasons is, I think, is that the Russian forwards, Soviet forwards here from the Kiev team, I think found out quickly that life's tough in the offensive zone. And the Soviet defensemen found the forechecking physical forwards for Calgary a little uncomfortable too.
Stefanchev going for the net. Sabarin got back to knock it away from him. Played up along the boards for McCrimmon. Kulabukov tied him up. It goes loose in the neutral zone. Nieuwendyk unsuccessful in attempting to steal it, and it's flipped over the glass and out of play. We've played 16-12 of this opening period, and the Flames are leading 1-0 on a goal by...
The great games, the games to remember. 1957, Notre Dame's Fighting Irish snap Oklahoma's 47-game winning streak, and the Sporting News was there. The Sporting News, where great things happen every week. Don't let them happen without you.
Call 1-800-238-3100 and get 29 issues of the Sporting News for 4 payments of just $4.99. You'll save 69% off the cover price, 40% off the regular subscription rate. Call now 1-800-238-3100.
Tomorrow, the Superpower Face-Off continues on Sports Channel. We take you behind the Iron Curtain for a high-powered matchup between Moscow Dynamo and the Washington Capitals. Sports Channel puts you at center ice for these exciting games between the NHL and the Soviet Union. Gear up for the hockey season when Washington battles Moscow Dynamo at 1 o'clock Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific, live tomorrow, exclusively on Sports Channel.
Then the crowd in Leningrad, although that facility in Leningrad can accommodate up to 25,000 with about 15,000 for a hockey game. Racing back after it is Murzin as he touches it, an icing call against Sokol Kiev. And Harry, the crowd is also much smaller than what we saw earlier today in the stadium adjacent to the hockey rink. About 70,000 were there for a peaceful demonstration in support of perestroika. What they're looking for in the Soviet Union, in this part of the Soviet Union, at least in Kiev, is for control of their own economy, and they want to speak their own language.
And you're talking about the Ukrainians, who make up about half the population of this part of the Soviet Union. And they were a lively crowd, dampened a little, I thought, Don, by some severe downpours.
Yes, they said that reduced the size of the crowd, but still about 70,000 were out. Puck picked up by Sinkov now, coming out for Sokol Kiev. Sinkov having trouble with Johansson. Tried to get it back to the point. It bounces by Lubnin. It's loose in the neutral zone, and Pryakin picks it up for Calgary. 17:15 is the time gone by in this opening period. 1-0. The Flames lead it on a goal at 5:59 by Pryakin. Jim Poplinski, the Flame captain, centering it. Gilmore, cross ice, score! Hunter!
Well, Mark Hunter really let go with a hard shot there. The goaltender had no chance at all. A nice pass to Gilmore after a turnover right here. You can see that the Soviet defenseman got not trying to take two guys. Number 14 for the Soviets, Shirerov, stood there at attention and took no one. As a result, Hunter had a free shot 15 feet out, and Mark Hunter can score. This Calgary fan, a little tired waving of the flag there, I think. They've led a tough life, the Calgary fans over here. They've taken advantage of every second in the USSR.
Loose puck in the Soviet zone. Gorbushin picks it up in the corner. Now it'll be interesting to see what assists they award on that play. Normally, both Poplinski and Gilmore would draw an assist on the score by Mark Hunter.
On the first goal, they gave Neuendijk an assist and not the defenseman that made the pass, sprung them out of their own zone.
1 minute and 57 seconds remaining in this opening period. Mark Hunter making it 2-0 for Calgary.
And Mark was very disappointed in the way he played in Game 1. He only got one shift in the first period, and the penalties really fouled up the line rotations. And Hunter's like about a half a dozen other forwards on this Calgary team. If they don't get warm and stay warm by getting a regular shift, their effectiveness is reduced dramatically.
Good move by Hunter to avoid a check to Joel Otto. Otto trying to get it back to Hunter. It's deflected to the corner. Hunter tried to drop it back to the point. Oletsky was there to intercept, but the Flames get it back. Natras getting set, lets the shot go. Through traffic, deflected wide. Suter with a shot right on. Shundrop has to make the save. Two big shots from the point by Natras and Suter. Suter's right on, and a screen Shundrop was forced to make the save. He's the oldest player on the Soviet team. He is 33 years of age, and he has been, according to reports we have received, one of the better goaltenders in the Soviet League.
Well, he had a 2.85 goals against average last year in 41 games, and for a fifth-place team, that's a very decent average.
We're into the final minute of the period. Calgary leading by a score of 2-0. Shireyev is back for the Soviets, being watched by Calgary's number 14, Theron Fleury. Now here's an opportunity, a breakaway, just goes off the end of the stick as it's whistled down on an offside call.
Well, the most dangerous play that the Calgary Flames have to look for is that long pass. Remember Thursday night after the first period in Leningrad, Nimick capitalized on 3 or 4 of them, and the Calgary goalies really had to play well. We watched the game last night from Moscow, where Washington beat the Moscow Spartak team 8-7 in overtime, and the Washington goalies had to stop about 5 guys that got in alone on that long pass up the middle, which is a trademark of Soviet hockey.
Duck Wiggenheiser was the overtime hero in that victory last night by the Washington Capitals. 38 seconds remaining in this opening period. 2-0, the Calgary Flames in front on goals by Sergei Pryakin and Mark Hunter. Poplinski and Gilmore have been awarded assists on the goal by Hunter, and so they should.
That scorer must be listening to you, Don, down there, giving a second assist on one goal. He could lose his job here in the Ukraine.
It doesn't happen very often in international hockey where there is more than one assist on any goal. Makarov couldn't control it. It bounces off the skates of Nieuwendyk. Soviets try and get it out. They hit the referee Lipa. The puck stays in the zone. Nieuwendyk with a shot. Saved by Shundrop. Gary Roberts right in front of the goal, looking for that loose puck. The Soviets having some problems getting it out of their own zone in the dying seconds of this opening period. What a hit by Nieuwendyk as he stepped into Kristich just as the buzzer sounds.
Joe Nieuwendyk is throwing about 4 good body checks, and if Calgary want to keep throwing the checks they threw in the first period, they're going to win this game going away. The Russian team is too small to take many of them.
2 goals in the first period for Calgary at 5:59. Friakin from Nieuwendyk, and then at 17:32, Mark Hunter from Gilmore and Poplinski. And at the end of the first period in Kiev, it's the Calgary Flames 2, Sokol Kiev, no score.
Well, welcome back to our Sports Nightly studios in New York. I'm Darrell Burnett alongside Herb Brooks, who, like Calgary, was faced with the prospect of beating the Soviet Union and did back in 1980. Herb, your thoughts on the first period? It started pretty much the way Game 1 did, didn't it?
There's no question about it. Calgary's going to get better as their tour goes on. As they get more practice time, they get more games. You got to remember now, Calgary is spotting the Soviets 1 to 2 months of training. So I was very impressed with Calgary's play this first period.
Interesting. We'll be back with more. Time to take a break now for our stations along the network. We'll be back in a moment. You're watching the National Hockey League from Russia on Sports Channel. Stay with us.
Relive the winning moments of the biggest Olympics in history. The Seoul Olympics Encore, only on the Sports Channel.